Apollo's Chariot is a B&M hypercoaster located at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg in Williamsburg, Virginia. Today I will be talking about why this is my favorite B&M hypercoaster and why it is my favorite coaster at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Apollo's Chariot is a great hypercoaster. It has some great airtime. It has floater airtime in the beginning and then ejector airtime at the end. People say this ride doesn't have that much airtime, but I'm here to prove them wrong. This ride actually has a lot of airtime if you're riding it on a day where it's hauling, because this thing flies when it is. It goes so fast. It's just such a fun hypercoaster. This ride is just fun. It's in my top 10 right now. It is my favorite roller coaster at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. I had a hard time choosing between this and Alpengeist, but I went with Apollo's Chariot because this ride's airtime just absolutely blew me away. Because to be honest, I didn't have high expectations with this one. I thought Intimidator and Nitro would still be better, but I was very surprised how much airtime it gave. This ride is just awesome. It's such a fun coaster. Now, if you're in for the more intense coaster, then Alpengeist and Griffin will be your favorite here. But if you're in the coasters with a ton of ejector and floater airtime, this is one for you. Now, I love intense rides too, so I loved all those Alpengeist and Griffin as well. But Apollo's Chariot's ejector airtime and floater airtime was absolutely crazy. It's just such a fun coaster. I think it's a top 10 hypercoaster in the world, because I just think this is such a great hypercoaster. Now, the pre-drop is a little bit disappointing because there's no airtime on the pre-drop, unfortunately. Like, I heard Raging Bull has airtime on its pre-drop, but I heard this one doesn't. Apollo's Chariot is more of a front row ride, that's what I'll say. When the wind is blowing in your face, and you get some pretty good airtime in the front row, too. It's just such a great ride, and I really like it. Just a fun coaster in general. It's a fun ride. So, yeah, it's just a really good hypercoaster, and I really, really, really like Apollo's Chariot. Now, let's take a ride. So, you go up your chain lift, and then you get ready to go down the drop. Pre-drop, of course. Then you go down this drop, which isn't that great, but it's decent. You then go over the water, and then go through a floater airtime hill. This hill provides some great floater airtime. So does this upcoming hill here. Even though there's a trim, you still get some great floater. The helix is actually very forceful. I grayed out on the helix. The helix was my favorite part of the ride. You'll see my favorite part of the ride later, but the helix was my second favorite part of the ride. Now you make a sharp turn down and then hit the brake run. Hit a mid-course brake run. And then you drop down. This provides great ejector airtime. Then you get another ejector airtime hill. And here's my favorite part of the ride coming up. You go over the water. Then you go through like this wave turn type element. Oh my gosh, I got flung out of my seat on that. It was crazy. Definitely my favorite element on that ride. Now you go over a couple little hills. Drop down. Go back up. And hit the final brake run. So yeah, Apollo's Chariot is absolutely awesome, and that is why I am giving Apollo's Chariot no other than a 10 out of 10. What an awesome hypercoaster. It gets way too much hate, I feel like. It's an awesome ride. I don't know why people say it doesn't have airtime. This thing actually has a lot of airtime. I didn't ride it in the back row, but I did ride it in the front row, and I got some crazy floater and ejector airtime. And I just thought this ride, it was really fun. This scenery around the ride is, like, amazing. Like, you're going over the water, there's trees around you. It's really cool. So, it's just awesome, definitely. So, yeah, that is why Apollo's Chariot is getting a 10 out of 10. Keep coasting on my coaster demons. Peace